Oh, how convenient. Look what somebody left out here. What's going on, everyone? Justin again. As always, thanks for watching my channel. Welcome back. Freaking snow day, man. You see this shit? Yeah, so today's topic is going to be working in cold weather. There's a couple things that I absolutely cannot stand. And I know what you're thinking. How can you have gone as long as you've gone in the military and not had to have dealt with some of the elements such as snow and rain? Those are by far the two worst elements that I absolutely hate. Cannot stand, hate the cold, hate the rain. Snow's part of the cold, right? So that being said, today I had to go into work. I was only there for a couple of hours, and I can tell you, it was quite god dang miserable. I mean, I swear to God, it was so miserable. I'm shivering. We don't have heaters, okay? I don't know how many of you that live up in the Northeast or where it's snowy and cold all the time. Even in the Midwest, I can tell you this much, we don't have heaters at our shop. There hasn't really been a huge need because it's only cold for about a month or two out of the season. But we do have swamp coolers for when it actually gets hot. Now, I don't know, maybe some of you guys out there, you've got heaters, maybe you don't have any kind of a cooling situation, unless it's a fan or something like that. But let's go ahead and talk about it. So when you're working on something and you slip a wrench, or maybe you don't quite got the grip you need with a pry bar and you smack your hand on something, I'm going to tell you it hurts 10 times, if not 100 times worse than if it was in hot weather, because the cold weather has a weird way of doing that to you, you know? So that's got to be number one. Two, your tools get cold. So this is where the comfort grip kind of thing comes into handy. And I was telling you guys about this when we did the 40th anniversary Matco ratchet. But all of my ratchets are pretty much metal, and I don't have any comfort grip. And the reason for that is because they all fit inside my service cart better. Those holes they have pre-drilled, they all fit in there. The comfort grips don't. So that's why I don't really have comfort grip. Well, I ended up hunkering down and buying one. Still does not help out with how cold and unbearably cold it can get in the shop. So what do you usually got to do? You still have to be hydrated. So you still got to drink water. In this case, Colorado piss water. But outside of drinking water, you got to put on extra layers of clothes. Then if you're moving around and you start sweating, then your sweat can start making you cold, and that's how you get sick, right? See, in the summertime, I can always take more clothes off, but I hate putting on more clothes. I hate wearing extra layers. It's extremely uncomfortable. Not to mention having to use like the bathroom facility, right? You drink your morning coffee, you start heading off to work. Uh-oh, next thing you know, you got to run to the toilet. Toilet seat, freezing ass cold. Non-heated bathroom, you're sitting on a cinder block of ice. It is no fun, gentlemen. No fun whatsoever, I'm telling you. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions about working in the cold, be in the Midwest or even back east. Let me know what your thoughts are. Do you guys have heaters, portable heaters? Do you prefer the heat over the cold? What's your preference? Do you prefer the cold over the heat? I know there's a lot of people out there that actually would prefer to work in the cold and cannot stand the hot weather. And a lot of you guys think that I'm crazy when I say I don't want it to be any colder than 75 degrees. I'm not lying about that. 75 and north, man. I'd be happy with 105, 100 degree weather. Even push it up to 120, I'll still maintain. I think at one point in time, it was like 129 degrees or something like that in Palm Springs, and I was okay with working in it even still. But I hate working in 30 degree or less weather, even 40 degree, too cold. I don't even know where to begin to tell you how cold it is today. I want to say it's probably at least 26, 27 degrees. I'll have to recheck the weather map and see what it says, but it's snowing. It started off pouring down rain. Now we got snow, so it's a snow day. My boss was nice enough to let us go. Only 2 hours in. Extremely grateful and thankful. So I'm glad to be home. But I'll see you guys back in the house. It's getting too cold out here for this shit. All right, so finally in a somewhat warmer area, I got my little space heater out here in the garage. A couple other things I wanted to toss into this video before we wrap it up and call it a day. There's a lot of things that last minute speaking that we don't think about until, you know, shit gets real. One of those things is when it does become a snow day, there's a couple of things that sell out relatively quick at the stores up here, at least where I'm at. So last year I kind of got lucky because it pays to have friends in high places. The manager of O'Reilly's actually hooked me up with one of their snow scrapers for like $3 or $4. And these are the things that you don't think about. But having a snow scraper inside your glove box, no matter where it is you live, what state you're in, you're always going to want one for an emergency. So that's like number one. keep it in your glove box, tuck it under your seat, something like that, because you will run into situations where you're going to wish you had a snow scraper. So that's number one. Number two, if you don't have an all-terrain tire or four-wheel drive, you may consider picking up snow chains. You might even consider learning how to put them on when it's not snowing, just so that way you have a better idea and you're not out there in the freezing cold trying to figure out how to put snow chains on when it's snowing and you're in like 6 inches to a foot of snow. So that's another thing that actually sells out pretty quick up here in the desert. I know because last year I went to try to get some for our front wheel drive car. They were sold out. Lucky for us, we actually did have a 4-wheel drive truck. The kids were snowed in, so they didn't have to go to school. And I didn't have to go to drill because we were also snowed in. So one of those things though that you don't think about until the last minute that you wish you would have had, right? Snow chains. So those can be tossed into the back of the trunk, or even in the back of your truck bed if you have a truck bed. I know some guys like to have the toolbox in the back of the truck bed, which actually works out. And some guys might even put a tonneau cover or a camper shell on it. Something else when it comes to cold weather that you might not think about is like road flares, reflective triangles, cold weather gear. So have a nice thick jacket, maybe toss in your vehicle somewhere and just always have one there. Maybe even have some kind of a ration. I know that rations can actually expire though over time. Might not be a bad idea to have one. Maybe a little propane cooker, something like that. Basically you want to kind of prepare yourself for the worst, but it just depends on the weather and situation that you're going to be in. I find that AAA still being one of my favorite things to have on hand, so no matter where I find myself or what kind of position that I find myself in, I can always rely on AAA, and at least I can stay in my car and hopefully stay warm until they get there. But that's all that I got for this video, guys. Look, if I missed something, please feel free to put it down in the comments. Again, tell me what it's like for you working in cold weather. We want to know. Most of you guys that do live in colder climates, I'm sure you've got some tricks and tips and things like that. So that way you try to stay as warm as you possibly can. That's all I got for this video. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers and deuces.